Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Beacon's live welcome of our virtual services. I'm Tuli Patel. I'm the executive director at Beacon, and we're very happy that you joined us for this exceptionally special Sunday that we have been waiting for a long time. I'm joined this morning by Reverend Emily Vargas and Ben Kegwin, who is one of our senior youth group leaders, and Misa Iwama, our director of music ministry. Again, a warm welcome to all of you. So happy you're with us today. Reverend Emily, what is on tap today? What is happening at Beacon and any other thing you want to tell us?
Well, there's something stupendous happening. Now, people who've been attending Beacon for a while know that every September we have a backpack blessing. Well, this year it's a little bit different. So we are doing a back to school blessing for everyone today. We're hoping that families come out with their kids. First of all, just so we can see them. Reverend Robin and I will be there with Tuli and Jermaine and a whole bunch of our coming of agers. And we want to bless the children before they head out to school or head home to school, depending on what's happening. That's today at 1 o'clock. And there are different ranges. So look to your email to know whether or not you're coming from 1 to 2:30. We will be there and we hope to see you on Waldron. For the rest of the congregation, our coming of age class will be there. And we hope that you'll drive by and honk in celebration. Just drive down Waldron. The other thing that we just want you to know, it's not today, but it is coming up, and that is that September 20th, Sunday, is our water in gathering. It's a little bit later this year. People bring water from their spigots and their summer journeys, and we collect it in a one great blessing bowl. Well, this year at 1 o'clock, it's going to happen in 5 different locations in New Jersey and also via Zoom. So just to keep that and mark it on your calendar that at 1 p.m. we will be gathering physically and virtually. So look to spark our Wednesday e-newsletter. Finally, speaking of water, one really special word of care and support to all who were affected this week by Hurricane Laura. And, we know that many of our members and friends had loved ones in her path, and we send our love to each one of you. We also send love to those as well who are rising up for justice in this time, our friends in Kenosha, in Portland, and throughout the world. We want you to know that we are with you.
Thank you, Reverend Emily. So, Ben, welcome to our live welcome for the first time. It's great to have you with us. And Ben, you are a rising senior. In a few short days, school will start for you. So, you have gone through coming of age, the coming of age program, and this service is all about coming of age. So, tell us, Ben, what is coming of age? What is senior youth group? What's it all about?
Okay. So senior youth group is the first time that the youth finally get to do their own thing that's led by youth. There are adult advisors, but they're not really running the show. So coming of age is the last year of adult advisory for the youth. And what they do in this time period is something really cool. They go through their own awakenings for spiritual things, for principles. They figure out what they believe themselves. I went through it. The people you're going to hear today, they went through it. And it's a really, really cool experience where you get to hear a lot of other people's perspectives, a lot of other people's beliefs. You get to go on a really cool trip to Boston, and it's a really cool experience. It kind of sets you up for this new time where you start to make your own decisions, you start to gain more independence, and it really sets you into the new mood for youth group, which is what all the other high schoolers are part of Sunday nights. So please open your ears and your minds to what these rising sophomores have to say, because a lot of it is really inspiring.
Thank you, Ben. This is what we say when we work with our kids. We say we are the home of the open mind, the loving hearts, the helping hands. We take care of the earth and each other. So thank you so much for that framing. And Misa, what are we looking forward to in terms of music, and how are we going to begin today?
Well, I love what Ben just said about in describing the journey to the senior level and how youth group works, because I think we're going to start with a song called Where Do We Come From? And the questions there are, where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? And so in this service today, when we're talking with the coming of agers, I think that we'll just get in the mindset by hearing some music. And just the other day, we did a Beacon Arts Room at noon where Marilyn Faltz talked about how to write your own story, which was incredibly moving and inspiring. And we also talked about this song, talked about how it was inspired and the way it's built. So some people have a little bit of a head start on it, but we're going to just teach it so that everyone can sing along today. So the first line goes like this. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? So if you could just repeat that with me, we'll just practice it. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Then the next line, it starts a little higher, it sounds a little plaintive, and it goes, where do we come from? Let's do it again. Where do we come from? And then the answer to that is kind of like a more quickly paced mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top and sing the whole thing. And any of those lines we just did can all be sung at the same time, or you could just stay on the first line and keep on singing that, kind of like a mantra. It's just like that is what is going to put our minds into the framework of being able to think what we are talking about today in our service. Remember, there's no wrong notes. There's only the new right notes. And this is something that we can just take with us throughout the whole day. It goes like this. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. To the top. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? And now for our chalice lighting.
We light this chalice for the light of truth and reality, the warmth of love and compassion, and the fire of a commitment and promise. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together.
Where do we come from? How did we get here? We are here today to recognize the completion of your year-long examination of the faith journey that you've been on since childhood. But this achievement didn't just happen. This Coming of Age Sunday is a culmination of a timeline of events that you've all experienced here at Beacon and out in the world. Some of you were dedicated at Unitarian Universalist communities as children or babies. For others, this happened in another faith context. At that ceremony, we gave thanks for the miracle of your new life. Your parents and the community affirmed their sacred responsibility to you to help you fulfill the promise and hope that every child brings into a new community. And we did that. I remember some of you from the pre-K class Kelly Loofborough and I led back in the day. Many of the adults in this community, some hopefully watching today, invested a lot of time in your spiritual exploration. Far too many to list this morning. But you were more than just sponges absorbing our lessons, following our lead. You put what you learned into practice. Most of you were very active in our junior youth group, and your participation in our game nights, the tutoring program, and the library rehabilitation helped make our relationship with Chancellor Avenue School what it is today. You hid eggs around the building at Easter for our littlest Beaconites. You sang and performed, sometimes under duress, at our holiday pageants, in our youth-led worship services, and at Mother's Day programs. You came to service auction events and spent time in Fellowship Hall because you understood that relationships, showing up for one another, are everything in a strong faith community. Today's service is even more poignant because we've never had to face the issues that we're facing today in this worldwide pandemic. You were forced to stop all the things you knew to make do with a virtual version of them. Your classes, your relationships, your camps and vacations, even your youth group here at Beacon. Everything had to shift from being a part of a group that had packed schedules and lots of in-person interaction to staring at a screen and trying to keep your natural buoyancy vibrant. And you did it. You used your voices at marches and at protests and made your unique personality shine through the masks that you were wearing, masks that you emblazoned with your own messages of social justice. And you showed up to record your coming of age statements. You've done it well, and we want to learn from you. So today, we adults are switching places with you. You are our teachers, and we're here to learn from you, to be inspired by you, to be taken back to our youth, to listening to the wisdom of your words. We're here to celebrate with you and to learn from you the faith, the spirituality, the beliefs, or the lack thereof, that you've come to accept as your own at this time in life. This year of questioning and investigating is just the beginning of your evolving spiritual maturity, a process that you will continue throughout your lifetime as you grow in mind, body, and spirit. Never stop learning or sharing your gifts with us. We need your voices. We need you. So, in the spirit of your class culture of not accepting the status quo and being willing to fight for what you believe in, take it away, coming of age class of 2020.
All people are important. Everyone has a place in the world and nature. I came to this realization in the summer of 2019. I was on a 10-day hike on the Vermont Long Trail. I had so many life-changing moments on that hike. The one that stands out the most is the moment I realized I had a place and purpose in nature. We had just hiked 7 miles that day up a mountain, so we were all exhausted, sweaty and weak. It was draining. At the top of the mountain, there was a beautiful clearing in the trees, where I laid down on a log. Looking out at the view, I was surrounded by beautiful yellow butterflies. They fluttered all around me, landing on my hands and toes. This painting is a depiction of not only that eye-opening moment, but how my soul felt in that moment. I felt truly at peace with myself and the world. I felt comfortable yet vulnerable, laying in the hands of nature, that anything could happen to me, but it was all as if it was supposed to happen. We are all a product of the earth, just a being that holds energy. I found truth in the fourth principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. All people should have a chance to seek freedom and meaning in their lifetime. And with my experience that day of the hike was discovering my meaning and place in the world. Unitarian Universalism has taught me to stay open-minded and discover my own beliefs through personal experiences.
June 12th, 1997. You and your dog are sitting on the couch watching TV and listening to Christmas songs. And then you're surprised that you made it to 72 and retired dinner in the money like there's no tomorrow. But your dog, who is dying of old age, isn't having as much fun as you are. Instead, he's just sleeping knowing that he'll die tomorrow. You're sitting down watching Christmas movies with a blizzard outside, now covering everything you see and making the world white. The snowflakes slam on your window like rain slamming on the roof of a car. The wind whistles like it's a song, and you tell your dog one final message. I don't want this day to end. 20 years later, it's been 20 years since the day of the blizzard, and you're in a hospital because of old age. Your dog is dead, and the doctors couldn't bring him back. There is a blizzard outside. The snow and the gray sky makes a white, bright cover like wolf fur. The snow covered the roof and the roads of the outside world, knowing that you're gonna die tomorrow. The snow crashes into the window like rain on a roof. Hey, let's go. One of the doctors told you. Caringly, she put you on a wheelchair and brought you outside for one last time. The snow lightly fell on your face like feathers of a bird. You stick your tongue out one last time and taste the snow. I don't want this day to end. A tear rolled down your face, knowing that tomorrow you're gonna die. But she knows that. I tried my best. She brought you back inside and put you back on your bed, and she left you. After 5 minutes, you see your spirit of your dog again. You see the light, and as the wind gets faster and the snow falls harder, it covers you up and cut like a white blanket. You feel proud that you can go out like this. Not in some hospital surrounded by people that you either know or don't know. Nonetheless, you say your last goodbye, let go of your surrounding, and the snow covers you.
My dad loves blue cheese, and he thinks everyone should love blue cheese. He says everything, burgers, salads, crackers, taste better with blue cheese, and he so desperately wants us, his family, to love what he loves. It's actually painful for him when we don't want it. My mom doesn't care much for blue cheese. She will have a little, usually to make my dad happy, but it doesn't do much for her. She can easily do without it. That's kind of how I feel about God. Some might say that I'm missing out on God, and that God is something that should be a part of my life. But to me, God is like blue cheese. Some people can't live without God. Some people don't take much notice. In this analogy, my mom is the opposite. She says she can't live without God. She actually has a relationship with God, and she claims God's presence in her life makes each day a good one. My dad, on the other hand, does not feel this way. To him, he doesn't care much for God, but he will go along with prayer, usually to make my mom happy. I, Samuel Hecht, am somewhere in the middle. I believe there may or may not be a God. The presence of God is a topic I don't give much thought to. It is hard for me to say that I believe in God because there is nothing that truly has given me a reason to believe in God. The concept of God that people usually refer to is foreign to me. For some, the concept of God helps answer questions such as what happens to us when we die or how life began. These questions are unimportant to me, so I do not need to refer to God for these answers. For others, the concept of God helps soothe their pain and guides them through hardship. I do not foresee seeking out God when times get tough, but I don't reject that I might. Maybe the concept of God was created for comfort, to explain the unexplainable, gain strength, and encourage a sense of community. Therefore, even though I do not believe in God, I cannot say with 100% certainty there is not a God. And this is what I love about being a Unitarian Universalist. My dad is Jewish, he does not believe in a God, and definitely does not have a relationship with God. My mom is Presbyterian, and she most definitely believes in a God and has a relationship with God. And my parents brought me here so that I can believe what I choose to believe. And I am somewhere in the middle. The UU principles are what help me most to define what I believe, and how I choose to live my life. Acceptance of one another and encouragement to personal growth in our congregation, and a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I believe you should not be judged whether or not you believe in God, just as you should not be judged if you do or do not like blue cheese. I believe life should not be taken for granted, and just being here should be considered a gift, with or without God. I see the gift in strong friendships and connections with others, sharing laughs with the people around me, enjoying a great hike with my family. I see the gift in a warm hug from my sister, my talent and love for mathematical challenges, my joy and passion for soccer, and the simple comfort a dog can provide. I see the gift in everyday life. As a Unitarian Universalist, I like the idea that I have the freedom to change my belief in God any day, and, most of all, that I am not judged for what I choose to believe.
In our community, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person in this community has value. Each person's experience matters. We share our sorrows and joys with one another, knowing that together we can offer comfort or raise our voices in a chorus of celebration. And we acknowledge that not every sorrow or joy can be shared openly, but must be held in our hearts. So today, I light this candle for the life experiences of the members of this community. May this candle uphold your spirit and join the candles being lit in your homes across the country. And together, may they carry the flame forward in the world for it to behold.
Alongside our community candles of sorrows and joys, we light our candle of witness for the multiple pandemics our country experienced this week, specifically of climate change and racism. Today we light our candle of witness for all suffering in the aftermath of Hurricane Laura, and for Jacob Blake, his family, and the community of Kenosha, Wisconsin. Mr. Blake, a Black citizen, was shot by a white police officer last Sunday. While the shooting did not kill Mr. Blake, it has left his body paralyzed and has radically altered the trajectory of his and his family's life. Jacob Blake has 3 children, ages 3, 5, and 8, who were present during the violent scene. He works as a security guard in Kenosha. After delivering presents to a neighbor's 8-year-old son, he was trying to intervene in a dispute between 2 women. What was an ordinary Sunday afternoon suddenly turned violent, as happens too often in our country. As a result, fellow Kenoshan citizens have taken to the streets in protest of the shooting, seeking justice and an end to the devastating frequency of police shootings of Black and Indigenous Americans and of Americans of color. More people have lost their lives this week in the protest, and even more have been injured. We light our candle of witness this day for Jacob Blake, for his children and family, for his community, and for our country, that we may know justice and repair.
'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where you ought to be. And when you find yourself in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
What a gift it is, beloved, to hear the voices of youth from our community with the courage and the vision to share what they believe, how they live in the world, and the prophetic call upon their lives, what they feel compelled to share with us. It is a gift to be trusted in this way. It is a gift to be in community with youth, even if we can't be physically together, to still create space to share this wisdom. I don't know about you, but as the years have passed for me, I find myself sometimes feeling very distant from that voice of vision and imagination that we often associate with our younger years. And so in this time, I wonder if you would join in a time of listening, a time that some may call prayer, to create some space that our adulting doesn't always create, for vision, for prophecy, for imagination, and what's more, to take a moment to remember our deepest values and where they call us now. Spirit of love and life, spirit of justice, all of which are one and the same. We listen now for the presence of imagination, for the presence of creation that we know is always within us, as every age we have ever been lives within us still, as time herself bends in the soul. And so in this time of listening, let us travel a bit in time. If in this hour despair seems to clutch at every corner, if division and rancor, if heartache holds us to the ground, then allow our souls, our beings, to travel for just a few moments to a time when imagination, when prophetic words, when conviction of values helped us soar. Bring a spirit of love and life to the place of the possible. And as we sojourn together in that place of what might be, let us listen. Listen for the words spoken in birdsong, swelled by the rhythm of cicadas, or moving through the grass as the whispers of ancestors. Let us listen, hear to that spirit of life, of love and justice that bends time, that brings forth the urgings of spiritual ancestors, of the dreams they dreamed that are now ours to do, and calls forth the leaders of today, the children who are rising, the youth who are committed and called and calling on us. Here, the universe speaks of what may be. Here, beloved, we listen and we receive the words, the calling, the prophecy, even for us ordinary folks who may not see ourselves as leaders, yet called, yet given, a gift to share, an action to take, a seeding of hope planted now. Spirit of love and life and of justice, we give thanks for your enduring presence. Hold us now when despair seems close. Help us to allow ourselves to be held, to be buoyed, to be moved by love, by justice, by life herself. So may it be in this moment and in the movement of our collective being. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be.
Individualism. I've come to find the most important thing to me right now is my choices and having them valued. I've recently been questioning my choices in life and if they're really mine or if they've been casually or not forced upon me. The biggest one I found is love. I obviously wasn't given a choice whether or not I came to this world, but I'm here to stay. I was born of love, but do I love? I know my parents love me dearly, but I can't help but wonder if I was not put in the position of these are your parents, you love them, would my feelings be different? My feelings towards them be different? I'm honestly not sure, but any decisions should be valued and not pushed upon us. Religion. Religion has never been an enjoyable experience for me. I believe religion is a choice. A lot of yous, probably many here too, came from other religions. Judaism is very accepting. However, I choose to reject religion as a whole, instead of a single faith. Religion comes from the Latin religare, to bind together, and I'm not really a together kind of person. I find it more enjoyable by myself. Religion has been forced upon me, and I think it stems from my rejection. I was told, you will stay in UUism until you're 18, then you can decide where your beliefs lie. In junior youth, there was a program called Neighboring Faiths. Within this class, we were introduced to other religions and cultures. I feel as though this class was introduced too early. I would love to take this class after coming of age, because coming of age is supposed to be the time you find yourself and where you stand religiously. I'll be honest, I don't think anyone was paying attention back then, but I think now is the time I'm most curious about other types of religions. I want my beliefs to be valued. I want my beliefs to be valued by others and not pushed aside. I choose to reject religion.
From a young age, I knew my family followed the traditions and customs of the Baptist Church. My grandmother was a strong believer in the Baptist Church and tried to push it on me. She wanted me to live by the rules that she had. I didn't have plans to do so. I have always wanted to live my life by my own rules. I always believed that the way you live is connected to your afterlife. The afterlife has changed in my eyes. Now I feel like I have a strong depiction of it, which is that there is hell and heaven. Heaven may be a nice place, but hell isn't the worst place to go. I feel like hell has kingdoms ruled by each ruler or entity, in that they decide what kingdom you go to based on how you lived your life. The principles I follow are ones set by myself, not how someone tells me to live. I have 3 life rules I feel I need to follow. Number 1, have respect for thyself and thy neighbor. This to me is never disrespect others or think you or another person is less than or higher than someone else. Everyone is made of the same veins, skin, atoms, and bone. We are not perfect. Number 2, never force your beliefs onto another person. I would never force someone to do something, even if it goes against my morals or religion. Many people live different lives from you. I will keep this mindset in place for my child. As a parent, I will not be baptizing my child, but letting them choose their own path and religion. Number 3, if it doesn't hurt other people, then don't judge. This goes out to a lot of communities that people might think are a little unnatural or weird. Just because we wouldn't live life as them or do some of the stuff they're doing doesn't make it right to judge them. We all do stuff that's not normal to others. It isn't right to do. I hope me writing this has helped you see how people live or might live their life.
Alone in the forest I walked, dappled sunlight falling through the leaves. All was silent, but I still felt stalked. Hair on my neck stood like wire, a sense of suspicion creeping into my cognition, though my ears assured me my mind was a liar. Until I heard the crackle of sticks echoing through the trees, I looked up and saw an old woman approaching me, her face wrinkled like children's knees. Her eyes wrinkled as she smiled, her skin was cracked like paper. She stepped out from the wild. I offered her a seat, told her I wouldn't mind. She said, I am a witch on a very long journey. She told me of her story, her quest to understand mankind. She told me of the people she had met, from lands far and near. She said, you'd be amazed, I bet. Warriors with iron swords to wield, queens and peasants alike, farmers, reapers of the field. As she told me of her trips, I realized I was lucky to be before her, and the words fell from my lips. I'm sorry, but I am nothing special. She laughed, more cackled at me, and rubbed her temple. Nonsense, tell me who you are. I thought for a moment, let my mind brew. A non-believer in neither heaven nor hell, wanting to not become a believer. The witch told me I was overthinking, as I often do. I felt my hopes sinking. How can I show you, in just a second, a lifetime in the making? I asked as she began to reckon. You are right, of course, she spoke grimly, with a sense of remorse. Kings tell me they live to serve, but sit on a mountain of treasure while their people starve. Oh, the nerve. Bishops tell me they live by their book, but in the shadows of their church, they refuse to look. The witch looked sad and old on that log, until an idea illuminated her mind, and she dragged her head out of smog. I will stay with you, maybe even become your friend, until you become clearer to me than a drop of dew. And so she did just that. Shared my moments, shared my laughs, treated me not like a thing to poke at. When she left, what a sight. She gave me a hug, hopped on her broomstick, and flew away into the night. So if you want to understand someone, you don't need to know what they believe. Perhaps get to know them, and you might be surprised by the outcome.
Hi, Beacon. I'm the Reverend Emily Bogus, and I am in a special place. The children's corner in the back of our sanctuary. It is very comfy. It's been a while since any of us have been here. I am sitting here because I am remembering back to my own teenage years. I was a member of a congregation and a great youth group. And I am remembering the adults who created safe places for my friends and me to learn and grow. I remember specifically our youth group leaders, Bill and Diane Bryson. They were amazing people, probably all of 23, but they led us through a really hard time. As you know, the teenage years can be tough. They can make you or break you. And when I was in 7th grade, one of my closest friends was diagnosed as being anorexic. It was tough on all of us and particularly on her. And Bill and Diane created a safe place for her and for her friends who were worried and scared, created a space for us to be and to ask our questions and to love one another through that hard place. And I don't know where any of us would be now without them and that time that they gave us. So today I am grateful to the two of them. And I'm also grateful for communities like Beacon, who, in spite of 1,000 different ways of living into the world, continue to prioritize children and youth. Because we know from our own lives what a difference communities like ours that are healthy and vital can make in the life of a teenager. And so I am grateful to all of the volunteers who show up each and every week to be a presence in our teenagers' lives. Even when they don't know the answers, even when they feel like they are uncool, because their presence makes a difference. And I want you to know that our community makes a difference. And that's why we contribute to the mission in time and in money, to making sure that communities like ours exist, not only for the children and teenagers of today, but on and on into the future. In a minute, you'll see both in the chat and on the screen ways that you can contribute. And I want to thank you for the gift that you give. Maybe today you make your gift in honor or in memory of an adult who walked by your side, who journeyed with you through hard times and good times and told you everything was going to be all right. Thank you for your contribution to Beacon.
On April 3rd, I attended a youth group meeting over Zoom, the platform that can bring people together when they're physically far apart. Or maybe to you, it's a reminder that even during a worldwide crisis, we still need to get our schoolwork and jobs done. Anyway, during this meeting, we talked about our credo statements. Everyone seemed to be very unmotivated. Most of us hadn't even started the project. It's so hard to find motivation in a world where the most human contact you're allowed to have with people other than your family is on a video call where we're constantly on mute and with our cameras off. Yet we tried to keep a conversation going. Tuli told us to ask any questions if we had them. Meredith told us a bit about what she was writing about and some issues that she had run into while writing. Emmy and Nate gave us advice. They said to just write whatever's on your mind. They said that there's no expectation for this. So personally, this is the most freedom I've ever had while writing. Of course, having this freedom meant that I had no idea what to write. I thought about it. I thought about all the things that are important to me and all the things that I've missed during quarantine, things that I've noticed are important to me because I've been in quarantine. I found that although they annoy me sometimes, it's nice to just have dinner with my family. I found that I shouldn't have taken sitting in the cafeteria with my friends for granted. I should have talked to them more instead of always just doing my homework. I found that despite being pretty stressful, being in stage crew with my friends could make me happy even on the darkest days. I found that Zoom is a terrible substitute for human interaction. I found that taking walks or biking in the middle of the day are always a nice way to procrastinate doing schoolwork. And I found that reading books, listening to music, and doing other things on my own can be pretty enjoyable. I might believe that keeping my grades up is important, but somewhere deep down, I know that it's not. I might believe that doing everything I do perfectly is important, but I hope that someday I can try something new and not be embarrassed that I'm not immediately good at it. Even my belief in God isn't that important to me because I don't know what my beliefs are in regard to any gods. Whether there is a God or not doesn't affect my everyday life. What does affect my everyday life are my human connections. My family, my friends, and even my acquaintances are what's important to me. I hope that I can positively impact the lives of those who positively impact mine. However, to me, it's also important to spend time alone. Although being around the people I love is nice, it's also nice to just relax and recharge my social battery. Most of all, what's important to me is love. Everyone deserves love, and everyone deserves to love themselves. If there was more love in this world, it would be a far better place. I'm sure we're all guilty of anger or even hatred, whether it's directed towards another person or ourselves. Often, I can't live up to my own expectations, but if I catch myself being angry or hateful, I try to stop myself. I'm allowed to make mistakes, but as long as I can catch myself making them, correct them, and move on, I can better myself. Life is full of mistakes, but we can all learn from them. So for anyone who's feeling angry at the world, at people, or at yourself, catch yourself, listen to some music, read a book, play a game. If you can, talk to someone. Think of the people you love, the things you love to do, and the things you love about the world. If we all do this, we can all improve ourselves, the lives of others, and eventually the world.
In my daily actions, spiritual or otherwise, I try to start with gratitude. As I begin this reflection, I continue the practice. I'd like to thank, as we start, our ministers, Reverend Dr. Robin Tanner, Reverend Emily Boggess, our adult mentors, Andy and Kathy Allen Roth, Shannon Bradshaw, Heather Stober, Jermaine Kripe, and our youth mentors, Emmy Kramer and Nate Woods. This year-long journey of discovery would not have been possible without you. Thank you. The root of the word belief, depending on the dictionary you consult, online, virtual, or a book like the ones that many of us grew up with, comes from the Old English and further back the Old Germanic and the Proto-Indian European root Liebe, and even further back the Sanskrit Lubbayathi, all of which basically translates into holding dear or caring about. Belief systems are unstable and not static. What we hold dear or care about can change over time, although as we age, our beliefs tend to get more solidified. That is why we tell our coming-of-agers that their statements are in ring binders, not set in stone. Belief systems can also be appropriated from others, particularly in the case of young children. A truly child and youth-centered setting lends itself best to a journey of discovery, just as we have been in this year. Most classrooms in school claim to be child and youth-centered, but they tend not to be. Just look at the way they're set up, with straight rows, everybody facing front, the teacher, lecture style, and the teacher is the repository of all knowledge and information. This is one of the reasons that I fell more deeply in love with Unitarian Universalism. We are truly child and youth-centered, from the way we set up our physical spaces to the way we make room for multiple voices, even dissenting ones, within the bounds of our core principles. Pedagogically, what we do in our circles is powerful and has the potential to really alter the way our children and youth see the world. We begin with what they know, moving from the known to the unknown. We center their experiences, allowing for a sharing of wisdom and understanding of the world, knowing that these are of tremendous worth. We ask questions that invite engagement rather than telling them, informing them something that they might already know. Truly transformative for me has been the experience of suspending my expectations of what should be said and remaining open to whatever is brought forward, even if I don't like it. This is Unitarian Universalism at its best: open, accepting, evolving. And so we have asked our coming of agers to examine for themselves what was authentic and true. I could say a lot more about this, but Gautam Buddha said it much better than I ever could. Do not believe in anything simply because you have heard it. Do not believe in anything simply because it is spoken and rumored by many. Do not believe in anything simply because it is found written in your religious books. Do not believe in anything merely on the authority of your teachers and elders. Do not believe in traditions because they have been handed down for many generations. But after observation and analysis, when you find that anything agrees with reason and is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all, then accept it and live up to it. So today, as we have listened to our youth, will our beliefs change? Will what we hold dear and care about solidify our commitments and resolve? Will we appropriate any beliefs from the kids? What's a belief that's shifted for you? I've had many change over the years, some thanks to our youth. As always, I have more questions and answers. Here are some more. Are there conditions that need to be in place for our beliefs to change or become more solidified, or ones that we can recommit to? For these, I will hazard an answer, thanking once again the Buddha who laid the foundation. The Buddha reminds us that when we speak, we have to consider three things. First, is it factual? Is it scientific? Or perhaps, if not borne out by science, is it true for us? Is it an authentic experience for us? Second, is it beneficial for the person who will receive the words? And in the Buddhist context, this means, will it lead the recipient towards their own further enlightenment? And finally, is it the right time to deliver the words? The Buddha added two more things. Are the words delivered with kindness and with an open and friendly mind? As the recipients of the words spoken today, the ones who hear and bear witness as Unitarian Universalists, we can take each one of these three conditions for speech and map them onto where we are as the recipients. It is factual, for it reflects our youth's reality and their understanding of the world. Can we suspend, as we listen, our expectations of what should be said? It is beneficial, for it invites us into a deeper understanding of what it means to be human and how our young people are evolving. Bearing witness to this furthers our own journey towards enlightenment. And it is the right time. A coming of age service, much anticipated, much celebrated, much awaited. Added bonus, the words were delivered with kindness and to an unseen audience, an unimaginably difficult task. So the conditions are in place to have our beliefs changed, our resolve deepened. It might seem we are ready. And yet, we tend to live in an echo chamber, befriending like-minded people, rarely stepping beyond our comfort zones. We read and listen and watch news that aligns with our thinking. Our beliefs are not being stress tested, if you will, and we only hear what we want and see what we like. How do we keep alive to the transformative potential of having our beliefs, our ideas, and perhaps our behaviors challenged and changed? Again, I turn to the Buddha, can't go wrong, who suggested that when we recognize that our thoughts and beliefs are not the sum total of our identity, they're just that, our thoughts, we have the necessary objectivity for change. And so we know today that what we have heard is not the sum total of our young people. It is just a snapshot of where they are in this moment of time. Invitations have been extended to each one of us by our youth to get to know one another, to value love, to stay open, to enjoy nature, to honor individual choices which might include a rejection of organized religion, to face the inevitability of death. Each one of these an opportunity to examine, consider, and look at whether it is conducive to the good and benefit of one and all, and then accept it and live up to it. And so this is my charge to all of you, as well as to our coming of agers. As you move into the next few weeks and months of the pandemic, it is to consider before you speak. Is what you say factual? Is it true to who you are? Is it beneficial for the person who will receive your words? And is it the right time to speak? Are you delivering your words with kindness in your heart and an open, friendly mind? Can you create distance between your thoughts and ideas and who you are? This objectivity is particularly critical in these times when your words have been stripped of the accompanying body language from which we derive so much meaning. But that is a reflection for another day. And so may we, each one of us, engage in this process, remaining open to the promise and practice of transformation. So may it be. Amen.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free of hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. Peace and freedom is our cry, is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry, is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without peace, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry.
Yes, beloved, we are building a new way. The future requires it of us. A new way that is grounded in timeless questions. Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? Whether we are 14, 41, or 91, each stage of our life gives us new insights in discovering the answers to these questions. We are grateful today to our ninth graders for their bravery and boldness. How many of us would have stood as 14-year-olds and answered such deep questions? I'm not sure I would. And yet we are so grateful to them. So, beloved, let us go out into this world and build a new way, grounded in these deep questions. And maybe, if you have a 14-year-old in your life, you will go out into the world and ask them, what questions do you have? And how are you living the answers? Let it be so. Amen.